Hey, you. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking to you. Are you looking for the best way to promote your podcast? It's easy. Just advertise your podcast to your ideal target audience. That's right, listeners of similar podcasts. Podbean has the best and most cost-effective options for you. Just go to the website sponsorship.podbean.com/STR. That's right, your friends here at Scout Team Radio are hooking you up. Go to sponsorship.podbean.com/STR and you will get the best deals to get your podcast rolling. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy Scout Team Radio.
Yeah.
You want to like them, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, good morning and welcome back. You are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every weekday morning, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. on 12-ounce Sports Radio. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Okay. And the man on the other microphone, he is a great patriot. He is so patriotic, he bleeds red, white, and blue.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is your boy, Chris America, coming to you live and on time with his microphone on. His sound is checked, and he is ready to rock and roll this Thursday, April 4th.
Whoa, Thursday? Is that a new day of the week? Whoa, Thursday?
Whoa, Thursday.
Okay, good. I like how you're coming in hot with new words.
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, Thursday.
Okay. Well,
So,
welcome
Loudbeard-
to this Whoa Thursday.
Well, Loudbeard, on this Whoa Thursday, I decided since it's National Poetry Month, I think I should read some poems to start off our day. How do you think about that?
I'm really hoping that you read a haiku. Please be a haiku, please.
No, it's no haiku. Much better than that. So hold on, let me see if I can get my my poetry bongos going. Okay, here we go. Yeah. All right, is that good? Does that sound good?
Oh, yeah, I think it sounds great. You could probably turn it up a little bit, because I'm really getting into it. Yeah, turn yourself down so I could just hear the bongos. No, I'm just kidding. You're good.
I didn't know there was going to be guitar. I just wanted some, like, poetry
It's okay,
bongos.
man. It's okay. I like to rock out with some guitar on this Whoa Thursday.
All right. Here we go with the poetry. A scrub is a guy that thinks he's fly and is also known as a busta. Always talking about what he wants and just sits on his broke ass. So no, I do not want your number. No, I do not want to give you mine. And no, I don't want to meet you nowhere. No, I do not want any of your time. And no, I do not want no scrubs. A scrub is the kind of guy who can't get no love from me. Hanging on the passenger side of his best friend's ride. Trying to holler at me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. I really feel like I'm learning a lot today. This is National Poetry Month or Day or Week or whatever you said it was. I have no idea, honestly. I'm not really up in the poetry world. I don't
National
go to
Poetry Month. Remember earlier in the week I went over all the different months it was. Like we had
Yeah.
Mac and Cheese Month.
You don't realize how seldom I actually listen to what you're saying.
No, I believe it, and I don't blame you. I don't blame you whatsoever.
But I don't want no scrub either, man. I don't want no scrub.
Yeah,
and that's
it's
okay
deep.
with me.
That's deep as a river.
That is deep. So Poetry Month, yeah, I'm going to celebrate by not having poetry to read for everybody. I don't, but I liked your bongos. That was That was a nice twist.
Yeah,
that
the
actually
bongos were
put a
good.
smile on my face this morning. So well played. there.
Should we just have that music playing in the background the rest of the show?
Yeah, for Poetry Month, man. You got to do these things for Poetry Month. You got to celebrate the things that need to be celebrated. And on Poetry Month, you got to make sure that you're giving the fans what they want. And they want a little background bongo music. And there's something else, Chris America, that I like to do for our fans. And that is get interactive on Twitter. We are already getting some hot tweets in on our Twitter line. For all the listeners out there, you can hit us up at Scout Team Radio on Twitter. We will read you a poem, or we will read your tweets on the air. So we have questions coming in from at Ian_Rehab Sports, good friend of the show. Ian asks, he says, questions for Scout Team Radio. Is Chris Scout Team going to be on time? ? Well, that was answered.
Answered yes.
Yes. So that was a 50-50. So we went with yes this time. But tomorrow, it's a different story. We don't know. And usually he blames it on the microphone. But, you know, we all know that he likes to take the morning poo right at 5:58. It's like, who can take a poo in 2 minutes? I don't understand how you cut it that close. Next.
You're pretty much an alien if you can.
Next, he says, and if ... Pure Magic make the playoffs, who would they match up better with? Fear the Deer or We the North? All right, so last night, our Orlando Magic get a huge win as we are getting down to the nitty-gritty of the NBA season. 3 to 4 games left, depending on your team. And the Magic are making that final playoff run, sitting there right now at the 8th seed. So if everything finished today, right now the Orlando Magic would be playing the Milwaukee Bucks. But they are only a half game behind the 7th seed, which would put them up against these Toronto Raptors. And only a game behind the 6th seed, which would put them up against the 76ers. So Ian's question, who would we rather the Magic face? And I want to ask you, Chris America, who would you like to see the Magic face if they make the playoffs? The Bucks, the Raptors, or the 76ers? Who is it that you would rather them play in the first round?
Well, I know we had some really good luck against the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm not sure what our exact record was, but I'm pretty sure the last 2 times we played them, we blew them out. Toronto is a tough matchup. Their bench is deep. They have Kawhi Leonard, arguably the best two-way player in the league. I don't know if I want any part of that. The 76ers, we watched them play us the other night, and we blew them out. They looked out of sorts. They looked out of chemistry, but I don't suspect that to flow over into the playoffs. However, if there is a team that's going to have the least amount of flow, least amount of chemistry, it's this kind of Frankenstein. We just assembled it. You know, we finally completed our process about 3 months ago in February during the trade deadline. And, you know, it takes time for these teams to gel, to get chemistry. I think the answer to your question, though, surprisingly, it's a toss-up between the Sixers and the Bucks.
Just take the Sixers.
All right, I'll take the Sixers.
All right, good, because I think the Bucks would be the best team for them to face. Good. I'm glad we're going to argue with this. Disagreement is good for our show. I like the idea of playing the Bucks. Not because I don't think Giannis is one of the best players in the league. I'm not throwing shade on Giannis. I'm just saying that this Milwaukee Bucks team does not have that experience in the playoffs. It does not have that multitude of superstars. It is a one superstar team with a lot of really quality players around that superstar. And to me, when you rely so heavily on one player, you become a little bit more one-dimensional. Now, this team is really good. I'm not taking that away from them. But in the playoffs, I would love my Magic and your Magic, at least you say they are, your Magic and my Magic to play Fear the Deer. That's right, the Milwaukee Bucks, because I think that would be the best scenario for them. And I'm with you, Chris America. I don't want anything to do with Toronto. I like the Raptors a lot. I like their odds of making it deep into this playoff run. And I don't know that that is the team that the Magic need to go and get swept by in the first round. That doesn't seem like it would be very fun. I think the Magic will put up a fight against the Bucks. And like you said, maybe the 76ers too. But I would like to see the Magic go up against the Milwaukee Bucks and make some noise.
Yeah,
Was that your noise button?
yeah, that was
Or
my
was that your
make some
air horn?
noise. That's my air horn, make some noise button. Yeah, Loudbeard, I'm
Yes,
just going to disagree,
sir.
buddy. The 76ers, they have all the talent, but they're all out of sorts. I'm going Magic 76ers. Either way, I don't think we advance past the first round.
Yeah, it would take quite the miracle. Now, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, but there are right now 5 teams vying for only 3 playoff spots. You know, we talk about our Orlando Magic. They're sitting at the 8th seed, but they're 39-40, same exact record as the Brooklyn Nets, who have the advantage sitting at the 7th seed, and the Detroit Pistons are only a half game ahead. So I said that wrong earlier, but the Detroit Pistons are only a half game ahead at 39-39. So these 3 teams, only separated by half a game, could finish the 6th, 7th, and 8th seeds. But the Miami Heat, only a half game behind the Magic, are sitting at the 9th seed. Like, we're sitting 1 game difference between 4 teams trying to make this playoff push. So the Magic, they have to take care of business, but so does Detroit, so does Brooklyn, so does Miami, so does Charlotte. Charlotte's got an outsider's chance of making it into the playoffs. So when you look at that, the team that took care of business last night was our Orlando Magic, and some of these other teams didn't take care of business, like the Detroit Pistons losing last night 89-108 to the Indiana Pacers. Were they maybe a little too comfortable, not realizing that the Magic are right there on their tails? How do you take such a big loss this late in the season when you have your playoff hopes on the line? I just don't understand it.
It's because they're not very good teams, man. You look at 1 through 5 seed, and it's 58 wins to 47 wins. And then 6 through 10 is 39 wins to 36 wins. To put that into perspective, on the West Coast side, the 8th seed in the West has 45 wins, just 2 games back from the 5th and 4th seed teams of the East. I mean, this is just the way it's always been. The Eastern Conference is lucky that they do it this way. I mean, maybe these records would be different if they played in the Western Conference, but I doubt it because none of these Eastern Conference teams will be getting in.
Yeah, and another team that played last night, Miami Heat, they're going up against the Celtics. They also need a big win, and they dropped the ball 102-112 against the Miami Heat. I mean against the Boston Celtics. So the Heat, another team sitting there at the playoffs. And each night I'm kind of worried. We're playing the Knicks last night as the Orlando Magic. We're playing the Knicks, and I look at the score early, and the Knicks are winning like 12-6. I'm like, are you guys going to come out flat? Is this one of those games where it's another letdown game? So I don't trust the Magic, just like I don't trust the Heat, and I don't trust some of these other teams, like the Brooklyn Nets, another team that lost last night. Of course, they lose to the Raptors, who are really great, but still, the Nets lose, the Heat lose, the Magic win, and the Pistons lose. Like, this was a good night for the Orlando Magic as far as standings go.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is what the middle of the pack Eastern Conference hell is like. Miami's been here since LeBron left. The Detroit Pistons have been here for a few seasons where you're just good enough to make the Eastern Conference playoffs. You're not going to win many games there. You're probably going to get swept in the first round, and then you're not going to get a draft pick that's worth anything. And then next season, you'll just miss the playoffs like the Hornets have been. The Hornets have been here for a while too. And you're just going to miss the playoffs, and you're going to get a bad draft pick. And you're kind of stuck there until you make a massive trade or tank again.
Yeah, it is. It's like a vortex, right? It's like a black hole that you get stuck into, and I don't know, man. I don't know. So we're getting some feedback here up on the Twitter line. I want to make sure I mention this. So at Ian_Rehab Sports hitting us up again. He says at Scout Team Radio, remember last year that the Bucks players went ghost besides Giannis and Middleton. And I agree with that. The Bucks were disappointing last year. They were one of those teams sitting on the bottom half of the Eastern Conference. Giannis was there. Yes, he's going to be good no matter what. Middleton, great player. He is kind of the Robin to that Batman, a good duo there. But yeah, that supporting cast. So this year, is that supporting cast going to be better? Brooke Lopez is a new piece that was brought in. Pau Gasol, I believe, is now on that team. Now he's not getting that many minutes, but he's a veteran guy that has some leadership there that can be thrown into the mix. So I don't know. The Bucks are a different team than they were last year, but what they showed us last year, and just if they have to go against the buzzsaw of the Orlando Magic, I would give the Orlando Magic a puncher's chance of possibly sneaking out and upset 1-8 if they end up at the 8th seed going up against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Anything's possible, my man. Anything is possible. And then the Magic can go into playoff mode into the second round, and now they have a bargaining chip with the free agency. Not that they're going to get anybody huge, but they can go to people and say, look, we're building on something here, and we need more pieces to help us get through. That's where you get to the second round. You can do something with the second round. First round sweep, not much you can do there other than just hope that your team gets better. But I'm hoping for it, man. I'm here for it.
Does it make you nervous that the two best players on the Orlando Magic are both free agents at the end of the season?
No, not really. I mean, this is a great, fun run. But if we have to do this, like lose those guys and start all over, I'd almost prefer that than throw a ton of money at them and then just see us stick in that middle of the road, basically become the Washington Wizards.
Yeah, and the Wizards, not so good. They just lost their vice president of basketball operations because they have been so just dismal the last couple years. It's time to move on. Washington's trying to recoup after they've sat in this Eastern Conference.
I mean, you think about it. Miami, Washington, Detroit, Orlando, we're all sitting here trying to battle off these seeds, and the New York Knicks could honestly go and get Zion Williamson, grab, Kyrie, maybe grab Kevin Durant, one or the other, and then all of a sudden they're a 3 seed. And that's what kind of sucks about the NBA.
Honestly, with Kevin Durant, they could easily be a 1 seed.
Right. Well, I'm just trying to be,
you're
conservative.
modest. You're modest. Yeah,
a top 3 seed. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you don't like hot Takis this morning. I agree with you. So first of all, that rumor with the Knicks, and people were putting that together, and you've mentioned it a few times. It's getting some steam. I'm hearing it in more and more places. I just don't know. I mean, the Zion thing is all chance with the lottery, so that would be more of a luck of the draw. But Kyrie and Kevin Durant, there's more rumblings, backdoor dealings where these guys are real buddy-buddy, want to play together, want to get somewhere together. And I don't know why, but New York, the Knicks always end up in that conversation. I don't see it happening, but gosh, if it did, I don't know, man. I guess it would be good for the NBA because the Knicks, that big, huge New York market, like a storied franchise that just needs star power. I get it. It would be good for the league, but it still wouldn't sit well for me. I just don't like the Knicks. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just I think back in when I liked the Chicago Bulls when it was the Jordan run, the Knicks were kind of their nemesis, and I guess from then I've still never really liked the Knicks. So I don't want to see them be good again. I don't. I really don't. I have no desire to.
Yeah, it would suck.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got some other big news we need to talk about. We're going to switch gears, get out of the Magic talk, get out of the NBA talk. And there was a huge story that happened yesterday. And this right here is not surprising, but Conor McGregor getting himself into some trouble again. Did you see the way this whole story started playing out between him and Khabib, Chris America? Have you gotten an opportunity to check out these shenanigans?
Well, you got to go back even further to Conor McGregor's shenanigans, to the day prior. I meant to bring this up yesterday, but forgot to. He started tweeting out all of his sparring pictures with him and that Paulie guy when he was fighting Mayweather and how beat up he was and everything. And I'm like, is Conor trying to start some trash so he can get into a boxing match with Paulie? And then all of a sudden, yesterday, and I'll let you finish it because this is your story.
No, you're good. You can go ahead and carry it on. I mean, well, here, I guess I will. I appreciate that. You're keeping me real here. But So Conor tweets out something, and if I miss any details, make sure you jump in and interject here. But Conor tweets out some tweet that had a jab at Khabib's wife's religion. So that's where this started. Now, those tweets had since been deleted, but it started a little bit of a feud on social media back and forth. And it gets Khabib where he gets to the point where he calls Conor a rapist, right? Like, he's just like, okay, you've got these accusations against you. You're a rapist. Conor's throwing shade at Khabib's wife. And all of a sudden, Conor McGregor is like, well, let's take this out in the octagon. So 8 days after this man had claimed he was retiring, he's already challenging guys that kicked his butt already back into the octagon. I mean, I read this story, I saw it, I looked at this, and was this all a plan the entire time? I mean, I feel like UFC has gotten so much like WWE when Conor McGregor's in the storyline. Conor McGregor is trying to make UFC the WWE. Dana White had comments about it saying, oh, this is uncalled for, this is inappropriate behavior, I'm going to address these matters. Like, come on, Dana White. Like, I feel like you're in on it. I don't know, I could be conspiracy theory guy, but this all seems like it's another giant storyline to create another giant pay-per-view so more people can make millions of dollars and we can be disappointed at the end of another fight. Does that what it seem like it's coming to?
Listen, I'm the guy who believes the whole melee in Vegas was completely scripted. It was fake. It was all a ruse. It was all set up. So I'm 1,000% agreeing with you. And I thought the exact same thing, that him retiring and then coming out and doing all this stuff. Now, here's the thing. If it is scripted, Dana White needs to get to Conor McGregor and say, dude, pick something else, man, because we can't alienate sections of the world, and we can't. This isn't like 1990s WWE where we get to talk about racial stereotypes. Remember when there was like, it was always just like country versus country, like the British Bulldog and like the Russian Hammer, and they would all make fun of each other's, countries, and they'd use stereotypes and stuff. We can't do that anymore these days. I mean, I guess no, we can't. And I think Dana White needs to challenge it now. Like calling another man's wife a towel. Like, oh, come on, man. Be original. Like, try something else. Tell him he has a big nose. Tell him his accent's funny. Make fun of the way he says smish and stuff. Like, I don't know, man. It's a little over the top. But, yeah, this is totally set up. This is all part of the storyline. Conor retires. Then he starts calling out Paulie. Then he starts calling out this guy. Or other than that, then maybe McGregor's just unhinged. He's just not a sane guy. Maybe he's got some sort of mental disorder that causes him to go up and down and indecisive and all around and just kind of, I don't know, manic, it almost seems like.
Yeah, and the part that throws me off is the retirement piece of it. If you're going to do this as a storyline and you're going to retire, don't you want to give it more than 8 days of like you would come back 6 months later. Like you give it some time so people are like, oh my gosh, he really is retiring. Because as soon as he retired, the storyline on all sports talk radio was, hey, do you think he'll ever come back? Well, really, when will he come back? That was more of the question. Because he's young. He's, 30, 31 years old. He's not out of his prime by any means. He's got a lot of fighting ahead of him if he wants to continue to be a fighter. And he's a huge household name. Why would retiring make sense for him? And then all of a sudden the allegations of the sexual assault came out, and a lot of people were like, oh, that's why he's retiring. No, that's not why he's retiring. I mean, people go to jail and come back out and continue to fight. They don't care about what's going on outside of the ring, or they're going to go and continue to do what they're doing. There was always something more to this, and I couldn't put my finger on it, but maybe in Conor's head, and maybe Dana White doesn't have anything to do with it. I'll give Dana White a pass. He probably doesn't deserve it, but I'll give him a pass. But what if Conor in his head is saying, I need to come up with another big payday. How do I do it? I'm a marketing guy. I can figure out how to... I'm the guy that fought Mayweather and made bazillion dollars. I'm the guy that created this huge feud with Khabib, and it drew a huge crowd. What else can I do? And he's like, who can I start a feud with? Well, let's figure out how to do this rematch. And of course, he doesn't do it the right way because he has no filter, and he does these slurs on social media, which totally inappropriate, but not surprising coming from this guy, right? Not surprising at all. So maybe it's Conor's way of hyping his own brand and hyping his own next fight to prepare for the next big payday.
I got to ask you, does this make you want to buy any of his whiskey?
Yeah, I don't drink whiskey, so the answer would be no. But if I did, it would be just pouring out, just left and right, just bottles everywhere.
Yep. Mike Burlon checking in. You can hit us up on Twitter at Scout Team Radio. Just like Conor throwing the dolly through the bus, this is a total setup that Conor took way too far. I got to agree, man. This is turning into WWE. You called it. And Dana White's I think he's always tried to play that Vince McMahon role where he's always on the mic, always challenging fighters. I remember his feud with Tito Ortiz and everything else like that. And it's just getting more and more there. Either that or maybe Conor's just trying to try out for WWE. Maybe he's on the phone right now with Vince, and they're negotiating numbers, and he's like, I don't know if you'll bring me this much. Here's this offer, and he's like, no, watch this. I'll show you how people react to me and the things that I do and say. And so he starts this, and then he comes back and he's like, now raise that number, Vince.
Now I'm going to one-up you a little bit here. Maybe he's on the phone with Vince McMahon, but it isn't for the WWE. Maybe Conor McGregor's going to be the number 1 draft pick for the XFL. How would you get your football league off the ground when this other one just failed? How would you do it? You get star power, right? And Conor McGregor would be the perfect star for the XFL.
What is he, like a punt returner?
I don't know. I don't know what he is.
He's
so
like
small,
5'6",
like you'd have to,
150 pounds.
Yeah, he would return the punt and then come up and do a flying knee kick, and knee to somebody's helmet, and it would be the end of that. It would one play, but
he would shatter his
could make
knee on
that
that
happen.
player's helmet.
Oh, good, but a good whiskey.
Then he's on the ground crying like
pain
Nancy
away.
Kerrigan.
Come on, don't bring Nancy into this.
Too soon?
That's my girl. Too soon. Too soon. Don't do that to Nancy. God, I still hate Tanya. Still hate her.
Everybody's on board with us, Loudbeard, on Scout Team. Ian, Mike, everybody. They're all conspiracy. We hit it. We hit the conspiracy button. We are full on Conspiracy Woe Thursday. It's got tinfoil hat central here.
Yeah, it's still this one wasn't done as well. I really don't think it was done as well. Again, the time in between retirement, the terrible what Conor said on social media, and even Khabib, like you're just calling a guy a rapist. Like, come on, let's just be a little bit more civil. But I guess if you're going to be civil, it doesn't turn into a story. You have to be outlandish for this to turn into a story. And these guys don't hold back. They're gladiators. They go in and they fight for a living. They tear each other apart for a living. So I guess I wouldn't expect men that are in a profession that has no real rules, right? Like just no punching in the nuts and poking each other's eyes out. Those are your only rules. Everything else is fair game. That in real life, they have no rules, no consequences, because they can get away with whatever they want because they're gladiators, they're big names, they're celebrities. And Conor McGregor, man, he likes to toe the line. He likes to push the limits no matter what the circumstance is. And this is just another example. But it really drives his star. It drives his brand, and it continues to keep his name in the mouths of the media, in the mouths of all the fans, and he is going to continue to be a star. He doesn't even need to fight. It's all of this extracurricular stuff that continues to grow his brand.
Yeah, then you got to think, too, that these guys don't live in America, and they're not Americans. They're independent fighters. They're basically independent contractors who come into America, they put on a show, and then they leave. So they have their own societal rules as to what's okay, what's not okay, different from ours. And, like Ian wants Dana to hold them accountable. Unfortunately, Dana's never going to do that with these two guys because they make Dana White more money than anybody else. Like, it's not even close. DC, Daniel Cormier, is the champ. He draws in such low buyership or whatever the word is I'm looking for. He brings in so little buys that it doesn't even really move the needle for Dana White. There's a lot of fighters out there that don't move the needle for Dana White. And so these guys can kind of do whatever the hell they want because they make money and they don't live here. So they don't have to listen to our media. They don't have to listen to our scrutiny. They don't have to be offended or upset with these kind of things. I think in Ireland, and I can't remember which country Khabib is from, so I'm not even going to guess, but whatever nation he's from, they celebrate these guys. They think that they're the national hero.
That they do. And on the flip side, Chris America, we'll find out. Where is Khabib from? Is it Canada?
Australia.
Hey, Kawhi, what are you laughing at, man? This isn't funny. Fantasy sports reimagined. FanDuel, that's what I'm talking about. It is more than just fantasy sports. It's the best way to watch the games, win real cash, and bring the action right to your living room. Just choose a contest, make your picks, watch, and win. And if you go to FanDuel.com/STR today, you can get a $5 deposit bonus. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/STR. Come on, man. This is not a laughing matter.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. "12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst."
If you've been listening to Scout Team Radio for a long time, you know that myself, Loudbeard, has placed a bet or two in his day. That's right, I've lost the beard bet, I lost the romper bet, but one place I don't like losing is when I bet money, and I can easily do that at MyBookie. That's right, you can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 12OZSports, and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Hey, guess what? That is a lot of money. Do it.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Appreciate everybody listening in like that you guys do each and every morning, Monday through Friday on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. That's right, we are Scout Team Radio. I am Loudbeard. He's Chris America. We bring it to you hot and live each and every weekday. You can also catch the podcast. If you can't always catch the live show, make sure you hit up the podcast. You can search for it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Just search Scout Team Radio. You can find us. It's easy. Just do it. Just do it. We're also on the Barn Burner Podcast Network. You can check them out at barnburner.ca. Great partnership we have with them. What an amazing podcast network. We love those guys over at Barn Burner. And they're Canadian, unlike Khabib Nurmagomedov. Just saying, Chris America, who claimed that he didn't know where Khabib was from. It's not Canada. Just throwing that out there.
You
Killing
said it
the
was,
tease already. Killing the tease already.
You said it was Congo?
Congo. The Republic of Congo. So, Chris America, you're very presumptuous because I saw in that promo at our commercial break, or I heard you say that you're everybody's favorite Patriot. That's pretty presumptuous because I don't know if you're my favorite Patriot. Sometimes
No,
I
I am.
wonder about that.
Remember,
I just wonder.
We went over this.
Oh, did I bring up an old topic again?
Yeah. Remember, I am your favorite Patriot. Hands
Okay.
down. Not even close.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to have to take your word for it since you're telling me that that's what the case is. But I guess we'll finish off this Conor McGregor talk. I mean, this is just more craziness in the news. I don't have anything else to say about it. I mean, the guy is just Looney Tunes, man. That's all I can say about it.
He is Looney Tunes. He is
He is.
cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He's everything.
He may be in the new Space Jam movie. I just teasing it. I have no idea if that's true or not, but I'm teasing it. So, Chris America, we talked pretty in-depth yesterday about this American Alliance of Football League folding up. And there's like a lot of different stories out there, but I wanted to throw a couple questions out for you for some hot debate this morning. Do you think the XFL has any intention of reaching out to the Alliance and trying to maybe pick up a team or two after they saw some of the successes? I mean, I look at it, and the team in San Antonio led the league in attendance, averaging, I believe, over 27,000. I mean, that right there should show a league like the XFL, who's coming to swoop in and make their grand entrance next year, that is a viable city. Now, do you think they would come out and purchase that San Antonio the San Antonio Alliance team, or a team like here in Orlando that had good attendance? Those two teams, you could buy the brand from the Alliance, and the XFL could have an instant influx of fandom right from the beginning. Is that something that is even a possibility, or do you think Vince is too stubborn to maybe concede and bring in teams from another league?
No, I don't think he's too stubborn at all because he's done this multiple times in wrestling, buying up different organizations, taking on their rosters, doing what he will with them. So this is not beyond Vince at all. Actually, this is Vince 101, what you're talking about. And I don't even know if he'd have to buy them. So one of the things he could do to kind of strong-arm his way in is just say, hey, Orlando Apollos, or hey, AAF, you owe UCF a ton of money. I see you probably owe a bunch of other people money. I know that there's a guy in Orlando who owns a print shop, says that the Apollos owe him $4,500 for some of the work he's done for them. He owes Spectrum
That's
Stadium
a heck of a
money.
bill.
I mean, it is for us.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
It's everywhere, but I'm sure they got tons of people like that where they've done business with businesses and they said, "Hey, we're good for it. We'll pay you back later. Here's maybe like a $500 deposit," that kind of stuff, you know? And they haven't paid rent to Spectrum Stadium, which I'm kind of surprised UCF allowed that to happen. I don't know what's going on there, but they owe UCF money, or they owe the athletic department money. And perhaps the XFL can come in and say, hey, you give us your team name, you give us the trademarks and everything to the Orlando Apollos, and we'll take care of all those outstanding debts. Sound like a deal?
That sounds like a deal to me. I think that's the way to go.
And I think that would be very cheap. I don't know how much, they would owe UCF, but I can't imagine it's anything over $500,000. I mean, and I'm just being over guessing here. I don't know what rent for a stadium goes for, but maybe it's more than that. I don't know, but it wouldn't be that much.
Yeah, I have no idea what that amount is, but you're right. See, to me, this looks like an opportunity. I was, I guess, thinking amongst myself here, and I was thinking, okay, is this good or bad for the XFL that the Alliance folded? And I really don't know the answer there, but I see good and bad things on both ends. So is it bad that the Alliance folded, showing that it's very difficult for an independent league to survive out there? I would say so. Is it good because now you've seen the blueprint of what does work against what doesn't work, and Vince can come swoop in like he has done many a times with things like the ECW or WCW, where he stole big-time acts and brought them over, and vice versa. So I'm just saying, what is your thoughts? Is this good for the Alliance, or for the XFL, that the Alliance and all this is happening?
I think this is all good for the XFL. One, it releases the Alliance's rosters that they had 3-year contracts with. So now their pool of players to choose from just expanded. Then they can kind of say, okay, the AAF went out and they showed us what the climate is for the for minor league football in the spring. And they showed us where the mistakes are. They showed us where the positives are. They showed us how fans react, how the country reacts, how the media reacts. So what can we learn from that? We have 1 year to figure that out. It was kind of like they were a scout team, just like us. The AAF was a scout team for the XFL. If Vince, looks at it that way and has that sort of mindset and everything, and I think you poach the San Antonio, I think you poach Orlando, and I'm not sure how good Orlando or Arizona, where else you kind of learn. All right, well, we saw Birmingham wasn't a good city, Memphis wasn't a good city, Utah, not a great place to have minor league football.
Yeah, Arizona and Utah were the two lowest attended teams.
I just knew Arizona was good. I just didn't know how good their attendance was. I hadn't seen any of their home games yet. But I remember turning on a Memphis game, a Birmingham game, a Salt Lake City game, and they were all just empty stadiums.
Yeah, Arizona was bad. Arizona was bad, and Utah was bad. And Arizona was a good team. That was the problem. When you have a good team and you have bad attendance, okay, that's not a good spot to have a team. But teams like San Antonio showed that is a very good city that will support a football team. And same thing here in Orlando. Orlando, another good city. Orlando is one of the top 20 markets that does not have, and they don't have an NFL team. So there is a little bit of a hunger. Not that it's a great sports town. It's not the best in the world, but it is a good sports town without an NFL team. So it shows that there is a need for football here, and I think San Antonio falls in that same category. You don't have an NFL team, and you have a big population of people that love sports. What's going to happen? You're going to show up to the games. So, hey, this is the moment for Vince to come in and look like a superstar. Him and Oliver Luck, these guys need to be smart about this. They need to look at their business plan. They need to plan it out accordingly and know that, yeah, your best case scenario is averaging 25,000. Worst case scenario, like the Alliance, a team like Arizona and a team like Salt Lake were averaging less than 10,000 in attendance. So if you're averaging less than 10,000, how can you still be a viable league? So you need to figure out how can we average more than that. If we can sit at that 25,000 mark, if every team in the Alliance had 25,000 average attendance, I bet this team wouldn't be folding right now, or this league would not be folding right now, because that's what they need. That's what the XFL needs, and you have to set your expectations there. You can't have pie in the sky, 60,000 person, attendance expectations. You have to have moderate expectations. That's how you survive as a football league.
Yeah, Ian chiming in. How do you not prepay for a stadium? You hear this a lot now that things are coming out. Even Steve Spurrier alluded to this, that the AAF, and I don't know who they are. I mean, you assume it's like Bill Polian and all the other founders, kind of stretched truth, sold some lies, and didn't exactly tell everybody what the real thing is that's going on. And I think they did that to businesses like UCF. Maybe they said, look, we have a 3-year contract with CBS. We have a 3-year deal with these players that we want to play. We want to be a long-term league, and we want to be a long-term leasing renter at your stadium. So, maybe give us rent-free for a few months, and we'll pay you back, and then we'll make it work. And businesses do that sometimes. They kind of take risks on other businesses to try to get them off the ground that they think can be successful, and they know, like, okay, well, we won't demand money from you right now because we know you can't afford it. But we see your business plan. We like it. We love it. What you're selling us looks good. And maybe what they sold UCF, what they sold the promotional sign guy, what they sold Steve Spurrier, what they sold these players was all just a big lie.
Yeah, you could say that. You're right, though, with the behind the scenes, hey, this could be your future, your risk reward. UCF looked at it as nothing else was going on in that stadium at the time of these games. Nothing else. So would you take a chance on an event that could make you a lot of money and help out your athletic program? Or do you say, no, if you can't pay right now, we're not even going to do the deal with you, and then you can go to Camping World Stadium or you can go to wherever else? No, you're going to sit there and say, let's make this deal happen because I see the potential and we can make a bunch of money off of this. And UCF really didn't have to do any work. It's just, here's a stadium that's going to be sitting empty on these weekends. Now you're going to bring people to the campus. They're going to buy food at the restaurants on campus. They're going to, pay for parking. They're going to do different things that's going to help out the school anyway. So bring it. Come on. And it brings, a little bit more publicity to the school. So I don't think it was a lose-lose for UCF, even if they don't get paid. I think it was just a chance that you take, a risk that you take when you're conducting business with a league that is a startup. Like you said, it's a startup business. So
And I think it kind of allows UCF to show that they can handle other events outside of their own football games. So where like other soccer leagues and other football leagues or whatever can come in and use the stadium and whatnot. Now Scotty Kaiser wants to know, are they going to bring the curse of Johnny Manziel? That's only if Vince McMahon comes off of this hard stance of we're not going to allow people with arrest records. So that's the only way Johnny Manziel gets in the XFL.
Yeah, I feel like that's just going to go away. It's going to fade away into the background because at some point he's going to have to get players and he's going to have to get somebody big, a big name that brings in people into the seats. And if that requires bringing in Johnny Manziel, it will require bringing in Johnny Manziel. That requires bringing in somebody else that has an arrest record. I think you're going to have to make those concessions at some point, but I don't know why that was such a big stance at the very beginning. Why was that his big deal? Like, oh, we're going to have a clean league. Okay. Well, unfortunately, there are a lot of players out there with arrest records. There's a lot that don't. There are a lot of good guys out there. I don't want to lump every NFL player or every football player together, but you hear a lot of stories of guys doing bad things or doing dumb things, especially when they're young. And that can follow a guy like Johnny Manziel. So I think he falls off of that stance pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think so too. Man, it's just, it sucks that we can't have a spring football league.
I think we can, though. Why can't a genius billionaire like Tony Stark figure this out?
I don't know, man. We just can't have nice things. I don't know what it is.
You know what else we can't have right
What's
now,
that?
Chris America? I've been waiting all episode to bring this up. This is a terrible moment. I'm just letting you know I am so tired of my sabermetrics. I am so tired of my advanced analytics. They did me wrong again. Last night, the unthinkable happened. The Atlanta Braves won, and the Philadelphia Phillies lost. The odds of this happening were just absolutely unbelievable that I don't even know what the world is coming to. How did both of these teams, the team that was trending to be 0-162 and the other team that was trending to be 162-0, both do the opposite of what they were supposed to be doing? How does this happen?
You know, Loudbeard, it's just one of those things like, I don't know, just one of those random, odd things where it's the exception to the rule. It's not the rule. And somehow the Phillies fall to second place in their division after that loss. The New York Mets. The New York Mets are the NL East leading team.
Hey,
I
the
say
Mets are
again,
good, man.
The New York Mets, the New York Metropolitans, have a half-game lead on their own division. They are 5-1, and they are the NL East leaders right now.
Oh, don't be giving shade on the Metropolitans, okay? The Mets, I mean, I heard a baseball expert the other day on one of our local sports radio say that he was putting the Mets in it as one of his World Series favorites. The Mets right now, their pitching staff is just lights out. Last night they were playing. I caught some of the game, and DeGrom is just so fun to watch. I watched it up through the fourth inning, and he was throwing at that point no runs against him. I mean, the guy just doesn't let in any runs. Fortunately, this season he's getting some run support where last season he didn't. So the Mets, I'm telling you, man, the Mets are going to be sneaky good this year. So don't be throwing too much shade on my Metropolitans because now all of a sudden that the Phillies lost, I got to pick another team to be the best team in the league. And since the Metropolitans jumped ahead of them, New York Mets, it's going to be a team of destiny. My advanced analytics are telling me.
Here's what I love about April is the Brewers lead the NL Central, which they won last year. I'm not going to sit there and hate on the Brewers, but they're not the historical team to lead that division. The Mets, they've been bad for a really long time, although they were in the World Series a few years ago. And then you have the Rays leading the AL East. The Minnesota Twins, that's not a team you see often leading their division. So
Unless you're talking about the Kirby Puckett Minnesota Twins, then the answer is no.
yeah. And the Angels paying all those players 1-5.
Angels in the outfield. This is crazy, but again, when you have such a long season, a lot of this stuff doesn't matter, but we like talking about it. Last night, the Yankees lose Troy Tulowitzki to a calf strain. Actually, early reports said they had taken him to the hospital. Typically, a calf strain doesn't require a hospital visit, so apparently it's a bad injury, so they're losing players left and right to injuries. Poor Yankees. We all feel really terrible for them. And the Padres last night had a little bit of an incident. You know, we talk about these rules in baseball. It's a gentleman's sport. And Manny Machado last night, he kind of did a little bit of a jerky thing. Now, there are two sides to this. And I don't know, I watched the video a couple times. And I do think Manny Machado was in the wrong here. So he pops the ball up. So the catcher gets up to get the fly ball. And when he's kind of casually jogging by, he throws his bat down near the feet of the catcher, who's looking up, stepping back to pick up a fly ball. And they call him out because of runner interference, but the announcer was like, that is Bush League. That is total Bush League from Manny Machado, because he was throwing the bat down so that the catcher could trip over it. And he did it nonchalantly so nobody would notice. And I've seen some people out there say, yo, no, what are you talking about? He didn't do that. But if you watch it, this guy just got paid $300 million to be a dirty, dirty player. He's Bush League, Chris America.
Reminds me of Ndamukong Suh when I was just stepping backwards. I had no idea Aaron Rodgers' ankle would be there.
That's exactly what it looked like when you watch it, man. Oh, it's great, but that's the baseball for you, right? Baseball loves these controversies.
Loudbeard, I got a jerky move for you. At least I'm going to assume it's a jerky move. I got a weird story that's out of sports, and I feel like this was set up by an April Fool's thing. A truck was stolen from Kansas City, and the police chased the truck thief. They finally caught up to him. They apprehended him. The truck was loaded with cookie dough. Why do I get the feeling that on April 1st, two criminals were like joking around with each other, and the one dude was like, hey, man, that truck is loaded with dough. You're going to be rich. Go get it. And he's like, all right, I'm going to do it.
Is that the most disappointing caper in the world? Like, they've set up this, they've probably spent 3 months working on this plan, this elaborate caper, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, we're going to be so rich. We've got so much dough. Boom.
God,
I believe that deserves a...
Yeah.
Or maybe more of a...
People do weird things, man. People do weird things.
And we do weird things sometimes. Hey, on a side note, some of these college basketball players... I'm going back to sports. I'm sorry, Chris America. I'm a sports guy. And we got 3 minutes left, so I got to squeeze in the last story that I have here on my page. I actually have like 5 more stories, but they're pretty weak. This one I want to talk about, though. Ja Morant declares for the NBA. So this guy is, he's got to be a top 5 draft pick. You know, sometimes these analysts will put these guys in different categories. But Ja Morant was one of the best players in college basketball, one of the biggest prospects coming out. He's not Zion Williamson, but he sits there, and to me, he's going to be second or third, maybe fourth, just depending on how it all shakes out. But this is a big-time name, and it's good to see that some of these guys are declaring for the NBA. Now, we still haven't seen Zion declare. Of course, we all know he will. But Ja Morant, he's that one guy that is going to be a game changer for a team that we didn't talk about all year long, but he's going to be one of those mid-major guys that comes out, and to me, he looks like he's going to be the next Damian Lillard. So good to see that this guy's coming out declaring for the draft for the NBA.
Yes, and I would like to say that I too am declaring for the NBA draft.
Because you want to get a lot of dough.
I do want to get a lot of dough, and Mike Merlon chiming in.
I was a second late on that laughter track because
Yeah.
I pushed the button, but it didn't push it all the way. And oh, sorry, that was behind the scenes producing done terribly.
All right, get ready for that laugh track, okay? Ready for it?
Yep.
Mike Merlon tweets in, do those criminals go by the dad joke bandits?
Oh man, that was a dad joke though.
Well,
That-
Loudbeard, we are up against it again. I want to announce that we're going to have a special draft tomorrow. It's going to be the draft of wrestling finishing moves since WrestleMania is this Sunday. And we're going to have a special guest tweeting in his picks. It's going to be the first time we've ever had a guest tweeter drafting with us. It's none other than Scotty Kaiser. He's basically been a third host to the show anyways on Twitter. So we decided, why don't you come give us help out with this draft? So we look forward to Scotty Kaiser with Craft Brewed Sports joining us. And if you aren't familiar with him, be sure to go to Facebook, like their page, Craft Brewed Sports. You can listen to them on Facebook Live tonight at 8:30. That's Eastern Standard Time. 8:30 a.m. if you're in the Philippines. And or you can go to 12 Ounce Sports Radio, 12ozsportsradio.com, and check them out there. Once again, 8:30 tonight.
Great show again, my friend.
And you can also find us on Apple Podcasts. Hit the subscribe button, Spotify Podcast, ScoutTeamRadio.com. We out.
Hey, what's up there, listeners? This is your friendly neighborhood Loudbeard, and I'm here to tell you that there's two type of people in the world: those that are on a podcast and those that want to be on a podcast. And if you are one of those out there that want to be on a podcast, one of the first decisions you will need to make is which podcast host you want to use. That's right. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, you need to check out Podbean. Here at Scout Team Radio, we have been using Podbean since the very beginning, and we absolutely love it. They are easy to use, and they have affordable options. Just go to podbean.com/STR. That's right, Scout Team Radio. Podbean.com/STR to get started today. What are you waiting for?